Hey, today we got a special installation treat for us. We're going to install two Power Beyond kits, one on Kirk's 1023E, one on Ryan's 1025R. They both traveled to be here so we can do this install together. Let's get started. So Ryan, you've got a 1025R here. How long have you had it?
Just coming up on a year.
Okay. What model year is it?
It's a 2018.
18, okay. So there are two Power Beyond kits for 1025Rs, 1023Es, the 1 Series tractors. There's a newer one, which is on 2018 models and newer, and then there's an older version for 2017 and earlier models. So that's one of the treats we're getting here today, is that Ryan, on your tractor, will put the newer Power Beyond kit on, and on Kirk's tractor, what did you have, Kirk?
I have a 2014 1023E.
So we will use the older kit on your tractor.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good. Guys, the first step is to take off the right rear wheel. And you've actually got wheel weights on yours, Kirk.
And
so
fluid.
you've got an oh, well. That fluid's no problem really on these size tires. We'll keep the tire upright and it won't be a big issue. I'll get some blocks and a jack and we'll get going. So we've removed the right rear wheels on each machine. And now we're working on taking off the rate of control drop valve and a bunch of the other little coverings around the foot area there. Eventually we're going to take the seat off. All this stuff needs to come off so that we can get a good view of where we need to put the Power Beyond kit. This is the 1023E seat. Notice there's no springs and no spring mechanism, just these little bumpers. Both seats are the same on the back side. There's these 13mm bolts we're going to take out right here in the middle. And we're actually on the front side doing it a little bit differently, but these bolts will allow the seat, we believe, to pick right up. I think it's going to take the seat belts with it, at least on the 1023E. Total of 4 bolts here to remove to get the seat off. This again is the 1023 seat, but we did the same thing on the 1025 as well. So we took the tracks off at the front, took it off at the tracks in the front, but then we used the other 2 bolts at the back. And I think that's going to make it a lot easier to get out, except that there's a zip tie tied down here. So we better get that first. Well, this seat's definitely lighter than the other seat.
Is it?
Just not nearly as much mechanism.
A lot of 1025R owners talk about the tilt steering wheel being so important. I don't think the seat height is as tall on this, so it gives you more clearance with a fixed steering wheel. I've noticed her uncle and another relative both have R's, and the seat bottom is taller on the tractor, so you have less room between your knees and the steering wheel.
And I believe we can see that in the seat mechanism as you say that. Even when we're looking at 2 side by side, we can see that the mechanism under the seat is indeed taller. Let's set them side by side and show you. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point, Kirk. Yours is a lot lower, and we've even got 1 extra bracket off on yours. So on the rear end, it would set a little bit lower yet than the 1025R. Looks like 2 or 3 inches. Okay, Kirk, looks like you're building this assembly where the couplers are going to be on the back side of the tractor.
Yes, sir.
We had to break out our metric adjustables.
You may have to do the turning because I'm bumping here.
I think we're going to be plenty tight anyway.
Okay.
Don't you?
Yeah.
See, it's metric on this side. It's English on, no, it's forged steel on this. So this one's only metric adjustable.
All right, install coupler bracket E, which is this. On the right side of the ROPS, bracket G with 2 M870 bolts, which I'm sure are these. Oh, and tighten to 32 metric Newton pounds or 24 foot-pounds. How about that?
Meanwhile, over here, Ryan has hit a little bit of a snag. First thing I noticed was his instruction book is about 3 times as long as Kirk's. So I was a little nervous about that. And sure enough, they're having us take off the entire fender. So we got to take off the fender and the footrest, it says. So here we go.
The next step is to install the appropriate caution verbiage and the P and R sticker on the back of the ROPS.
So the P and R sticker here is kind of important, Kirk. The P side, see, it's supposed to go right beside these, so probably down a little bit. Yeah, right there.
Like over that?
Oh no, I guess put it up here then. You put it as low as you can and still stick on the... So the Power Beyond is a hydraulic circuit, so basically the entire tractor runs through a loop. there's an upstream side and a downstream side of that loop. And the upstream side is called P, or pressure.
Okay.
And the R is the return.
Okay, return.
The oil will flow this direction.
Okay.
And that's important when you hook to a backhoe or when you hook to the hydraulic, because you have to hook it up in
Yeah.
the proper order. When we get to the Summit hydraulic solution, it will have a P and a T. It'll probably have a T line on it. We'll talk about that more during that install, but this is an important sticker here.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Ryan's getting the bad end of the deal here. Short end of the stick. So yeah, we're removing this fender. It's gonna take a few minutes. So this is one of the features that a 1025R has that a 1023E doesn't. And so it's got two wires. One of them goes to the cigarette lighter connector, and one of them goes to the side light here, right?
Yeah.
And other than that, the 1023E looks like this without this piece at all.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to see the difference now, isn't it?
Sure is. So we're finding that really the green part of the fender itself is exactly the same on the 1025R as it is the 1023E. The only difference is that insert that then has the two electrical connectors that give you the 12-volt outlet and the side-mounted work light.
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense. That'd be a lot cheaper for them to make only one fender piece, right?
Sure.
And then just make a different add-on.
Yeah.
So the comments are going to be, well, can I just buy those inserts for my 1023 and add that?
Yeah, they're gonna want to know that.
Of course you could.
Yeah.
Of course you could. You'd pay, times you did everything like that, you'd pay a lot more money.
Uh-huh.
But if you bought your inserts like that, you wouldn't get the wiring harness.
Right.
But you could buy the wiring harness and put the lights on if you wanted.
Yeah.
Or you could just trade your tractor for a 1025R.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it.
Okay, let's
Well,
take that off.
thank
Yeah, you're
you.
doing right. Push it. Can you push it back a little bit there, Kirk? Or can you help him there a little bit somehow? It's going to be just like that. It's going to be.
Okay, go towards you, Ryan. You can.
Oh, that's what we need to bend. Yeah, that's what we're hanging up. There we go.
That was a three-man job.
Yeah, it was.
We're looking at the 1023 here now, and this is the line we want to remove. It's actually easier to see on this tractor because the 1025 has the position control, and that's a big block right here, right, guys? And so without the position control, it's a lot easier to see. But this is the line. It looks like the line is the same on either one. We want to take that off. I'm not sure whether we're taking the line off right here or whether we're going to be taking the elbow off as well. We'll have to check the directions.
Now this shouldn't be under great pressure or anything, should it?
No, it shouldn't be under any pressure.
Okay.
I can start the tractor while you're doing it if you'd like. So this is the 1025R version. Here is the position control portion. At first we thought this was something that could be added on, but it's not. It's part of the cast here, we believe. This whole casting is different. Pretty sure that's all part of the casting there.
There's no need for tape on this one, right?
Right, those are O-ring fittings.
Okay.
So that's the easy way.
Easy enough.
Right, because it's O-ring, we don't have to get it like crazy tight.
That's probably good enough. That's a long wrench. So the elbow goes this way, and then
Yeah.
it comes around like that, right?
Yeah, so what we're going to
do.
be doing here is creating this is essentially our Power Beyond loop, right? So we're going to be connecting that right to there. Now you can go ahead and put it on there. Again, O-ring fittings, so we don't have to have any pipe dope or anything. And then this is going to come around in this loop just like this.
Okay.
And this is the way they always were. Of course, we'll not couple it up there right now, but this is the way they always were on the older 1025Rs. And a lot of folks apparently complained about this, especially when it would leave the hoses sitting out on the backhoe platform. So Deere redesigned it, but this was much easier to connect and disconnect than the current version. So I actually kind of prefer it. But yeah, that's how it's going to work. So this will be the back end. Of course, we'll have to do all the front end
Right.
in a little bit. Oh, I think you want that elbow pointing towards you.
Yeah. Something about like
A
that.
little bit upward, right? Because it's going to, you see, yeah, enough to make the curve
Easier.
gently.
There we go.
Okay, so Ryan, when we left your 1025R, you had just taken off this hard line right here that went to the rock shaft from the loader SCV. You're working on getting these new hard lines. Which one goes where? Do you know now?
Yeah, I've kind of figured it out. So this shorter one of basically the 4 lines that you've got, this is the one that's going to connect to the rock shaft. Just make sure that you get this routed right, otherwise it's not going to be easy. So you want to make sure that you go down in between basically the ROP and head towards the axle. When you get it lined up, it should go in just where it should be.
Oh, good. So maybe put it on there loose for now.
Yeah, they're on the instructions. They tell you to loosely install it for right now. Now the other one that goes to the SCV will actually route up through the top through here, and you want to come underneath.
Oh.
And then plug into there.
Okay.
And then there should be the next step talks about putting a clamp to hold these 2 lines so that they're secure.
Okay, and then this one ends up sticking up for now.
Yes.
We're going to eventually curl this over, probably just over or just under this bar here. I've had mine both ways.
Okay. Make sure that one goes up. And then the one coming off the rock shaft, make sure that it gets routed down in between the ROP and the axle. So after we get the 2 hydraulic lines, one on the rock shaft and one up on the controller, instructions are asking for us to install one of the hose guides. There's 2 holes on the right-hand side ROP that we're going to install that in. And it's asking you to install with the bolt washer, and then it comes with a lock nut. They put a long bolt on here, and with the lock nut that they've got on here, you can't just spin it with by hand, so you've got to use a socket or a wrench to get it in there. Make sure that we're tight, and that's installed.
Kirk, it's confession time.
It is. So we were trying to connect up the hard line to complete the loop of the Power Beyond, and it was too short, and we were scratching our heads and trying to think, what are we doing? What's going on? We got the wrong part. And then Tim wisely realized that I had put the bracket here that holds all the assembly on the wrong side of the ROPS. And if you look at the picture in the instructions, it clearly has this on the other side.
Yeah, so back to when we put the P and R sticker on there, we were wondering why it would hit the bracket. Well, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the loop would be a lot less
protrusive.
What we're finding here is that the Power Beyond kit is simple to install. Getting all the fender taken off and the seat taken off and everything taken off to get to it is a little more complex.
Okay, so Tim, now that we've repositioned the piece on the back there, everything works so much better. It's
Yeah, it
just
should be the right way. Yeah, this is the pressure side, so it'll go to the top here. I can grab this.
And we're going right here under the SCV control.
Now there's a lot of space in here again because we don't have the position control. But let's make sure that, well, that's still touching. Or you tighten these down, I'll hold this down. Now let's make sure we've got,
We're still touching a little. That cleared it right there. So just getting it tight.
I hope it's tight enough. It may not be. But what we'll do is we'll run the tractors before we put the fenders and all back on.
Right. So now I think we're down just to the hose.
So one of these is a little bit bigger than the other one, so we're going to be able to figure that out. Is there an O-ring there? Yeah.
Yes, inside. Yeah.
Right, it's right on the face. Yeah, the 2 kits are significantly different, but they're doing the same thing, and they're really plugging into the same endpoints here. The one right on top of the rock shaft and the one into the loader. So I believe each kit would work on each machine. There is one unique need. If you have the independent mower lift, then even if you have an older tractor, you need to use the newer kit. So you need to use the kit for the 2018 and newer, and we can see how it would fit on this machine. It'd be fine. The reason you need to use it is because you'll also have to buy an extra accessory hard line to connect and get your, what's it called again? Independent mower lift plumbed into it. So you need the new Power Beyond kit if you have either the independent mower lift or the third function kit on an older 2017 and prior 1 Series tractor. The older kit looks to me like would work on the newer tractor.
Yeah. And would it be fair to say too that we are going to be able to create almost an independent mower lift option with my hydraulic lift to the Summit hydraulic solution that will now allow switch control for my mower deck lift?
Yes, it's exactly right, and that was one of your goals, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I hesitate here. There are 3 different mower lift options. Let me give you just briefly. There's the mechanical lift, which is the one that's tied to the 3-point hitch. There's the hydraulic lift, which routes one hose out to your loader SCV, and you use your joystick to do the lift. And then there's the independent hydraulic lift, which usually puts a button, I think, on your...
Right here.
Yeah,
on the
okay,
dash.
on the dash. And typically I recommend the mechanical lift. It's the simplest lift mechanism possible. But what you have here is the hydraulic.
Yes.
So you have the one hose routed out to your loader SCV. When we get our full solution done today with our new Summit Hydraulics kit, we're going to route that hose back and
Right.
connect it upwards so that you don't have to disconnect and connect for your loader SCV. That should be great. I think we have your kit installed.
I agree.
So let's go over and check Ryan's machine, and we'll just let this season for a few minutes.
So after we get done installing the hose guide up here, it requires you to add another hose guide on the front side of the ROPS just below it. Looking here, it looks like the John Deere utilized the holes for where this hose guide is going to go by dressing up the wires and holding them back. So we're going to snip these zip ties off, get this installed, and then we'll have to dress these wires up so they're not flopping around afterwards.
We had the same issue on the 1023 too. Now you've got the, looks like, yeah, the nut on the bottom side.
Yeah. Now that we've got the clamps on, we can finish tightening up the hose line that goes to the rock shaft. So now that we're drawing to an end here, we've got to get the connections for the 2 hoses that are coming back off of here. The male side is going to go onto the lower hose, and it's got a 22 millimeter at the top and a 27 for the bottom. So we'll get it all threaded up here, and then we'll work on the next one, getting the top connection on.
I'm going to twist this hose right under here. You can either go over the top of this or just under it. I've tried both ways. You get a little bit more hose flexibility down here if you go under it. We'll see which one we like best.
So I've noticed a mistake that I did here. This bracket, this lower hose guide, is going to have to come off. Before you install that and tighten it down, you need to make sure that you route that hydraulic line through there first and then bolt it on.
Okay, well, we're going to do a leak test here. Be ready to turn it off. Did you see anything on those up there?
I did not. I checked all around them.
I think we're good.
So last connection to hook up is the female that goes up on the top. We'll get that all connected up, and then we should be done with this project. I think we are going to have to route from the, unless
Above
I can,
the top?
yeah, unless I shove this up a little bit further.
It's unfortunately that's just what you got.
Yeah.
That's why it's so annoying. You want to try to go over the top?
There we go. No, I think that'll work. I think actually on the top it would. I mean, it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other.
I think you're
Because-
right, and it's just uncomfortable no matter how you do this. See, you're trying to push this upward, and it's even worse when the tractor's fully on the ground and you're standing up.
And you're trying to.
It just doesn't work very.
And
very
especially
easily.
if you got equipment back here, your 3-point arms and everything else that are sitting back here, it's just going to be a hard thing to hook up.
Yeah, and that's just normal. So the good news is you only have to do it when you put the backhoe on or not, and in your case you don't have a backhoe. So it may really never get used because once you hook it up to your hydraulic solution,
It'll be done.
it'll be done.
Yeah.
Ready to test?
I think we're ready to
You
test.
sure?
I think so.
Okay.
So that's it for the Power Beyond, right?
That's it for the Power Beyond. Ryan, can you help us? I think it was kind of a 3-person.
Yeah. Because we got to get that lever split back in through there.
Lever.
It's lever in Arkansas.
Sorry.
So we're both going back together now. I believe Ryan has his fender pretty much on. He's got the extra piece that goes with the 1025R he's got to put on, and I believe Kirk's already to his seat. I guess that's one of the benefits of the simplicity of the 1023E. It doesn't have this extra console that needs to go into place, but all we got to do is go back together and we're done. Guys, the Power Beyond installation itself, easy or hard?
The installation was pretty easy.
But part of it wasn't.
Yeah, it's the amount of stuff that you got to take off and then put back on. You got to take into consideration that amount of time. The kit is only a few lines, and you're taking one line off and putting a couple of lines on. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's just getting to that area to be able to do it.
Yep, the kit was easy, but getting all the way down, taking the fender off, especially on the 1025R, we had that extra console that proved to be a difficulty for us on the electrical wiring. Removing the seats, not that bad, but it's just time, right?
It is.
So I think one of you was saying this is a good job to find a friend.
Yes.
The old phone a friend from that game, right?
Yeah.
And maybe two friends in our case. So yeah, we've got the Power Beyond kits on. We've checked for leaks. I'm pretty excited about this. Just to revisit a little bit, you can run the new Power Beyond kit on the old tractor without any problem. We double checked, the Power Beyond kit comes with these two extra hard lines. If you have the independent mower lift or if you have the Deere third function kit, you get the hard lines to allow that to work. We didn't need to use them. I don't know that you could use the old Power Beyond kit on the new tractor. You might be able to. If you're not going to put a backhoe on, that might actually be nice because it's a little bit easier access to that loop in the back. Yeah, so you could potentially do that. However, the old Power Beyond kit is a little bit more expensive.
It is.
So if you want to save a few bucks and get a nice looking install, the new kit will work, looks to me like on all 1025Rs and 1023Es. Guys, I appreciate you bringing your tractors all the way up here for this install.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. Well, the good news is you'll buy your next one. You already have Power Beyond on it when you get it.
Yeah.
And then this hydraulic solution will just move right over there. And it'll only
Well, that gives me a good excuse to go ahead and buy one with the backhoe.
yeah, because you need the
Power Beyond.
you kind of made a mistake already here by putting this Power Beyond on.
Yeah, I know.
Should have said I need to get a Power Beyond. Probably best if I just go ahead and get a new machine with the backhoe. Yeah. Also, I can get a third function.
Yeah.
That's my whole motive here. is get a third function.